go.
And welcome back to paTOK,
Yeah.
our monthly, supposedly monthly podcast where we talk about ways in how to, I guess, find TOK in the world. So here we are back with our hosts. I'm Jeff Mercado, and this is
And
my lovely host.
Jika Regala with a costume change to defy time.
You didn't have to say that. But anyway, here we are back to our February episode. And because it's February, we tend to have one date in that month that seems to get everyone all crazy, okay? And that is the date of Valentine's Day, right? So we found it fitting that for the Feb episode, we'll talk about a very what do you call this? Misunderstood a way of knowing that is emotion and experience. So
Yeah.
we'll try to, I guess, talk about how when we claim to know something, sometimes you're more credible if you've had experience of said something that you're claiming of. Anyway, so so our I guess theme for the February episode is called knowledge that's accessed only through experience.
Grabe. Hindi ko in-expect na technical na tayo. Kasi sa brain ko parang, yung theme ko lang is araw ng mga puso.
I remember siya.
Araw ng mga puso, loving and being loved. Tapos yun pala, I was like, dami kong di alam. Sige nga.
Sige. I guess since we're talking about love, would
Awkward,
you
no?
wow, awkward kasi parang anyway. So, would you like us to talk about the, I guess, advice that we received from people about love? That when we receive that advice from people, cliche pa lang siya, but after years of experiencing love, it no longer became cliche.
Anong advice? I
I
don't
don't
recall.
know.
Ikaw, anong advice bibigay mo about love bilang between you and me, you are lawfully wedded?
Oo nga pala. I
Authority.
guess yung grabe naman. I think the advice that or that parang couples require communication. Parang titas and titos, aunts and uncles would always say that you have to learn how to communicate, you have to learn how to talk. And for a while back then, when they were telling me that, I was thinking, yeah, we talk, we exchange words.
True, true.
I mean, isn't that talking? I mean, so if we manage to exchange words, that might be the solution to to having a lasting relationship. But boy, oh boy, merely exchanging words, opinions, and ideas is not enough.
Oh gosh. So, ano
There's a
pala,
kind of talking.
debunking myths pala na hindi pala siya about advice. Siguro, bago tayo to talk about advice, what's your status? O, diba? Let's just go
Oh,
there.
yeah, nga pala.
Mr. Mercado, a bit of background on your love life.
I've been married since 2017. Wife and I decided to get wed muna sa civil courts para we can earn properly for for the more credible wedding, and that was a church wedding which happened in 2018. You happen to be one of our guests. So I've been married since then, and we currently have one daughter. Her name is Yana Haima, Season Mercado. And yeah, that's as far as my status goes. But prior to marriage, I've had two serious relationships. Okay. Second one being my wife.
Ah, grabe, bakit may bilangan ng
Ay, tanong ka eh.
Hindi. Kasi immediate context.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Sige, ito na tayo.
How was
I'm
your
not
love
gonna
life eh?
answer that. I'm just gonna talk about my love life as currently. Dating the same guy for the past 4 years. He's an artist. I'm a teacher. He's also a scholar of film. Similarly, we have those same interests. Buy his paintings. Will I link it? I'm not really sure. But support local. Support local.
Support local tayo.
And I've been dating him yun nga for 4 years. We just had our anniversary this past Christmas. Yay! So he's the blessing of God. on the day that Jesus was born. So like,
Oh, wow.
diba? Yun yung anib namin. But that's where I've been at. Any relationship before this one, serious ones. Okay, let's just count serious ones. Siguro two, two. Yeah, I think two. Cause like you don't know what serious is when you're a teenager or when you're a young adult. So like it's only when you're like 20 something when you realize, seryoso pala to. I mean, this is no like for people who already know.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
good job, but yeah, for me I only realized that later in life, which isn't exactly that late in life, but you get the numbers. So that's my relationship and that's your advice. I like your advice though. Like I mean it was advice that was never given to me because
Oh,
I
okay.
tend to be a know-it-all, as you know.
Oh.
I tend to be I tend to be a know-it-all, and that's part of me owning up to my flaws. But um, I like what you said kasi tama. I mean, it's same as you. I really thought that before. Communication was just saying words, like saying one thing and then waiting for another person to answer. High Langlit students, this is called the communication model. I thought it was just that, but it's really more complicated within the context of a relationship that you have the choice to opt out of all the time. And yeah, that advice that you just gave right now is something that I didn't know I was actually taking very much into consideration in my current relationship. So that's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. And maybe I want to point out what you said a while ago na when it comes to relationships, teenagers have quote unquote no idea about it. And that's precisely I guess the focus of this particular episode, where can we really claim to know something if we've never really had sufficient experience to support such a claim? So here we are, I guess, as adults, as they would perhaps refer to us as boomers, where
Because we're millennials.
no, I know, but the idea where the older adults giving advice to younger ones being resistant to such advice.
Okay,
But yeah,
fine. Good point.
that's the idea. Na for many high school students or even college students for that matter, um, in the context of relationships, for example, they tend to be confident with what they know, with their information, and because they've had a good run so far with one person, they then start to have that, I guess, idea that, oh, I know how relationships work. But then here comes the older people like us who would say, just you wait. Because there seems to be some knowledge that's only accessible after gaining experience, after making a good amount of observation and experimentation. And that's exactly what we, I guess, want to talk about. From a more philosophical perspective, I think they refer to this as the posteriori
Posteriori.
thinking,
Yeah.
where it simply means that it's knowledge derived from observations or experiences. And that's something that we want to um, talk about, or at least or reflect about that big question. Can we say we know something when we've never experienced it? So yes.
Am I supposed to answer the question now?
Yeah, go ahead if you want. You're being called.
Natuto. Kasi, it's Latin eh. A posteriori is actually the opposite of a
Okay.
priori. A priori is before the fact. A posteriori is after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
So, the knowledge, this whole idea just really posits that surely we know one thing after experiencing it after the fact. Okay? Kasi the fact is information or knowledge that you have gathered and you can therefore be sure of it, certain of it, and act according to it. It's also used in law. Sorry, naalala ko lang.
Go
This
lang.
isn't in the script because like I remember these terms so vividly when I wasn't working as a teacher. I worked for 3 years in corporate and legal. So like these, I used to edit
Legal.
documents.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to edit documents and this language is like, oh, it's just copy
Sorry.
editing. I had to clean it up. And now it's like, I'm actually using it. Amazing. And I did not know that I would be using it. Oh, diba, after the fact. At the time, I did not know that I would be using the terminology now. with regard to love
Uh-uh.
life pa. Um, ano ba? Sige, I'm gonna try and answer the question still in the context of relationships, para easy yung tawid.
Yeah.
What did I not know before because I did not have an experience, and I know now because I have the experience? Communication
Mm-hmm.
is one example. The other is something I didn't know before, but I knew in my most recent relationship. I'm sure of, and this is personal, individual, personal knowledge lang, is that I don't really care who texts first.
I
Is
see.
that
I
a big
see.
deal?
Okay.
Is that a big deal? Because
No,
I
no, no,
remember in
no.
the dawn of
Well, for some
our
people.
age, in the dawn of our age, that did not make sense. In the dawn of like social media and communication and texting, naabutan pa natin yun, diba? Big deal
Yeah.
growing up for us, figuring out who texts first. And I realized that as I got older, that it wasn't, and this is gender roles pa, na parang it wasn't my job to wait. If I
Yeah.
really wanted something, or if I really enjoyed the conversation with someone, Kebs na, like, just text the person. I'm sure that if the person likes you also, they're not going to think about, ooh, she texted first, or ooh, I have to text first. And like, I know it's a small thing right now, but it's something that I experienced. I haven't gotten bad feedback from texting first. So that's
Mm-hmm.
my experience, and that changed pretty much my knowledge.
Yeah. 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 I mean, yes, that's a really valid experience where the how you manage your relationships before became more or less the proof that you have about how it might be applicable to everyone else. So that's
Yeah.
a really good point. And I guess on my part naman, um, yung idea lang na can we say we know something if we've never experienced it? Maybe I can relate that to the context of a breakup.
Patay.
Oo.
Patay.
'Di ba?
Oh,
Kasi 'di ba
go.
ano, we would we've all, or perhaps those of us who have been in a relationship, there was a time when you have declared, often
And
publicly,
oh,
that this one person who's in front of me will be the one whom I will love for the rest of my life.
mm,
'Di ba,
yes.
these grand gestures of, coming, sorry, kung kasi college yung naisip ko eh. Yung habang nakaklase yung teacher, yung prof, biglang pumasok yung lalaki na may dalang flowers, na interrupt yung class para lang para lang
Okay.
iabot yung flowers.
Tuloy.
I mean,
Pero
grand
sige.
gestures, tapos ano,
Oo.
or yung iba bumibili ng promise ring.
Okay.
'Di ba?
Grabe yung
Yung
sorry, hindi ako gano'n. Hindi ako
hindi ka ba
gano'n,
gano'n?
so, like, yung tone ko sobrang transparent na I don't approve. I mean, I've received flowers, but also it's like, wow, sure. Sorry, this is no judgment. Ako lang
That's
talaga
alright.
'to.
Yeah, I know, I know. I mean, I'm just describing the lengths that people go
Yes.
to declare their undying love. Okay, and when the relationship does turn sour, and they decide, or one of them decides that the relationship is over, okay, you find yourself in a state where you're confused,
Mm,
where you made a declaration, you were convinced of such declaration that you're going to be together for the rest of your life, and here you are without them. Parang, will you be able to find someone else whom you can love as much, or whom you can exert as much effort, spend as much time with, and be as vulnerable with? Parang during that time, wala. Okay, there's no one on earth who can match the love that you receive from that one person.
mm.
And and looking back, how wrong, how, I guess, how mistaken, di mo say, pero how short-sighted that
Yeah.
experience was. That because you met someone who perhaps you connected with, that it's almost near impossible to find someone else who can be exactly like them, but not them.
I'm so confused now. What? Okay. Wait.
Wala
Like,
ka bang ganung experience?
wait lang, ang haba, sina-summarize ko pa. Yung experience na siguradong sigurado ka na kasi, and you were so swept up in all of it, and that you were absolutely sure that you knew
Mm-hmm.
that this person was the one, only to be met down the line, years, months, maybe weeks lang for some people. Okay.
Hours.
Hours. Las Vegas. Hours after, and then realize that that wasn't the case. What you knew was not what you knew. What you thought you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I think everyone who's been, speaking of experience, I think everyone who's been in more than one relationship has been able to say that they knew one thing and then like down the line they knew something differently. But siguro, what I'm curious about and in relation nga to our topic today is, why is that the case? And you said something about emotions a while ago. And I'm like, could you please elaborate, Master of
Oh,
Psychology?
hindi naman master. I think, ano lang, hypotheses.
I mean, MA degree, masteral degree of psychology.
Ano lang, what makes experience a valid, I guess, what makes experience a valid source of knowledge is
Mm,
that when you when we use words to refer to something, like for example, if we use words to talk about heartbreaks,
mm,
diba? We might understand it conceptually. We know how it's defined. We might have even observed it
mm,
in someone else. But to be in that position, to be in a place where you are burdened by that heartbreak, it gives you a nuanced understanding that heartbreak, yes, there's a common definition,
mhm.
but it's gone through personally. It's gone through individually. Parang yun nga, I
Okay.
can, I can, we can all be served the same cup of coffee,
Mhm.
but I can experience it very differently.
Yep.
Di ba? And
Oo.
for me, when I say coffee, whatever I experienced of it becomes my basis.
Okay.
So, how do I relate it back to emotion? Kasi
Ako
ano,
kaya ko feeling ko
yeah,
after.
go, go, go. Ikaw
Kasi what
muna.
you're saying is really that our experiences are personal. Okay. But it doesn't mean that the experience cannot be shared. For
Mm-hmm.
example, with the coffee example, let me just superimpose it with our theme of love. A lot of people are in relationships and a lot of people are in love. You're in love. I'm in love. My parents are in love with each other. We're all in love. But we're like all experiencing love in different ways. And often when we're in a particular situation of love, in this case, we have blinders on, perspective limits things, 'di ba? So scope and limits then of your may scope and limitations then yung pag-experience mo ng love. Often that scope and limitations also informs your personal, okay, understanding of what love is. So if
Very
like,
contextualized.
I know, sorry, lang okay, but
Go, go.
am I making sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does,
Yeah,
it
okay.
does.
So within that context, like kunwari, I fell in love with someone today. I am sure that I love this person right now. With my blinders on, all I can see is that I love this person. Okay. But as time passes, there's also a possibility that that person changes and I change, but we both have our blinders on. And what we see within the context of love also changes based on our personal experience. So, my relationship with this person, when taken alongside, say, your relationship with another person, are both love. They're just different
Yes,
experiences of
yes.
love. They're also mutating, transforming, transmuting versions of love parallel to each other in their movement. What I want to know is, sure, sure, where do emotions factor into experience? Yun. So, Mr. Psychology. Yay!
Sige. Experiences are compilation of memories, compilation of details, compilation of anecdotes. And what emotions are? They are one of the ingredients
Mhm.
that comprise the experience. And in fact, if I were to venture further, emotions are what colors are the
Ah,
colors of the experiences. So you can have the same structure, parang you can have the same outline of, let's say, an anime drawing,
mm,
but if you change the color of it, the whole image changes its mood despite maintaining its original outline.
right.
So these emotions are a product of experience. And oftentimes, if you tap into the emotions, it actually pulls out all of these other experiences that are parang categorized with this emotion. So, yung when we talk about, let's say, if we go back to the idea of love, if we go back to the idea of commitment, okay, oftentimes we can have a different knowing
Mm.
of commitment because of our emotion, because of
Ah.
the emotions that have been compiled with it. So for some people, commitment might look like I am wholeheartedly dedicated to serving your needs. Diba? For others naman, commitment can be a bit more tiring. Na I am doing this because you need me and not necessarily because I enjoy doing it. Kung yung iba naman, commitment um, can be a bit, can be more empty. That this is the bare minimum that you need of me. Here is the bare minimum that I am going to offer. So yun, parang the emotions they provide us a more nuanced, a more personalized understanding of the same term, of the same concept. Okay, but it doesn't mean that because my experience is different, it's less
Yeah,
than yours.
I'm gonna go into somewhat sensitive territory with your consent. Is it all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Kasi you talked about how emotions color experiences, but emotions are also derived from experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Diba? Like our wealth of experience, our memories, so what we perceived before, so on and so forth. So, applying it to real life, what I'm curious about is what you felt or your emotions when you connected with your current wife.
There was peace.
Mm,
There was a sense of um, I found someone whom I can feel safe with. I found someone who I can be honest and yet not be shunned. That was my biggest fear before. Now, if I were to show my true colors, that they'd be surprised because in my head, I I am exhibiting the behaviors of a goody two shoes, someone who seems to follow the law back to the letter, and who seems to always want to impress, always wants to not disappoint. But then again, I can't be that simple. I
yeah.
cannot be caricatured to that image. So when I begin to show the other side, people tend to become surprised, and sometimes they become offended that I have duped them into into this image that I seem to have created in their head, and now I'm responsible for maintaining for their sake. So when I met my wife, I didn't feel that need to maintain anything. I
Mm.
felt that for once, I mean, the rare moments where when I do show my truer colors, it was received, embraced, and accepted. And I was like, okay, this is a feeling I like. This is an emotion I want to experience more of, and thus I pursued
And with that, Mrs. Jewel Season Mercado, I hope that you enjoy this episode.
her. Yung pala yung ano,
Yun ba yung
was
point?
she messaging you?
No, no. But I think it's something that could be very affirming, good vibes, good feels. Also, how do you call it? I think that it's something that you know, but also it's something that she could know. And I think it's of value to know also. Na parang, wala, reflection paper na tayo. I think that's the value kasi of emotions also in terms of experience. Often our experiences aren't so nice. I mean, obviously, tao tayo. So balanced ang experiences, bad and good. And you said it yourself nga that you showed yourself to be one thing, but you're actually one thing. So your wife gave you an opportunity to just like let loose. Um, I think part of why emotions are such great colorings to our outlines is really that they're affirming. They keep us going. They they don't make an experience plain. they get you on a state. Emotions get you in a state wherein you can choose to pursue that emotion again. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that's so encouraging. Kasi nga, I mean, people say that love is an emotion. I would argue that you can feel loving, but love is a state. And we're not experts. We're not experts. These are just opinions. These are just But that's what I'm getting at. Na parang we all experience love differently and we all feel in love differently. And that does not discredit how we love or the love that we experience. Oh my
Mm.
God, ang senti. So please pakirelate na po sa areas of knowledge. Kinilig kasi ako sa sinabi mo. Tapos parang, your wife should totally hear it.
She will. I guess going back now to our example a while ago where, high school students are convinced of their feelings. Yes, yes. We're not saying that you foolish young children. No, we're not saying that. We're just excited actually for you to see that what you are going through right now is merely one shade
Yeah. Ganda mo.
of a bigger, broader experience of human connections. And yes, savor those relationships, savor those people that you're with, because they do make you feel alive, and that's what we are, what we would like to have. So maybe going back to the big question: can we know something? Can we claim? Can we say that we know something that we've never experienced? To a degree, no.
To a degree, no.
To a
But
degree,
you
no.
can know of something. Is that
You can
correct?
know of something.
Sige.
Mm-mm.
I've never been in love, but I know of love.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, makes sense.
Mm. And for you to, I guess, and that's also the invitation. Eh? If you know of something but have not gone through it yet, why not?
So it's like motivation. It's also motivational. Like when you hear, oh, it's like when you can't when you sorry,
It's
and
fine.
then like I had information overload. The super na-excite ako dun sa sasabihin ko hanggang nag-dissipate siya. But the point I was trying to make I think was that um so if you've never experienced love but you've heard of love, just being told that there is love is enough motivation to pursue love.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Diba?
Nikilig.
Yee. And with that, I guess that's how we can conclude the episode for the February of Podcast paTOK.
Yeah, and we hope that if you're not yet in love, this entire spiel actually motivates you to your parents might not approve, but like love. Okay, hindi naman kailangan na romantic. Basta,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you can find God in all things, there's also finding love in all things. And it's based on experience. And I'm
Yeah.
not the only one who can speak about this. It's a great state to be in. It's a great
Yeah.
experience and it exposes you to some of the weirdest but also best emotions that you want to chase after
Mm-hmm.
experiencing them.
If you want your life to have more texture,
Kala ko
fight
color.
love. Oh,
So, hindi lang pala siya color.
fine, fine. If you want to experience life more.
In 3D, in 4D. Encouragement pala to. But this is not to say
Yun pala
na
yun.
yun lang yung love. Yun lang yung love. Maraming love. And sana in love kayo ngayon. Kung hindi pa, get to it! Thank you for your time. And
And
we'll
to show your love, subscribe. Love.
oh, basic na kami. Basic na po kami ngayon. But ako, no pressure to subscribe. We do this out of
Yeah, no pressure naman.
Ayun. With that, thank you guys. We'll see you in March.
See you in
Bye-bye!
March.